demonstration of mediumship, seeking to reunite those here with those who have crossed over. The medium comes to you if it sounds like the body of others belongs to you. Please speak up. The sound of your voice is very important. And we're lucky enough to have Reverend Joe here, so in a little bit he'll be working with some spirit art. So if you could just, for a moment, just to raise the energy, we ask for your loved ones to draw near to us in the room and surround us with the beautiful presence of those who join us as this room becomes a world between two worlds. Just read the message prayer. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond woods on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circle flight. I am the soft star that shines at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. As I begin, I have to say, as I was sitting up earlier during healing, I was aware of the presence of a gentleman that comes to me who definitely had either an emphysema or cancer condition. His breathing was terrible at the end. He was somewhat successful in life, and at one point he might have had a mustache, I have to say. This feels grandfather maybe to me, but he was successful, and I do need to say that. I did hear the word Longton, which I know is in England, so I don't know if he's talking about English connections or if you're aware of the name, last name Longton, I have to say. And he's also, unfortunately, shown me the SS sign, so I think there's some German in the family if I talk about this as well, because it's definitely brought up. And he really worked hard on building his money, because he showed me coins, and that he had a bit of drive, but almost a bit of obsession, I have to say, with becoming financially secure. That drove him in a big way. So would anyone understand any of this so far? Oh, so a couple hands. So what can you take in the back?
Everything, actually.
And this would be who to you?
A very dear friend, like a brother.
Okay. And Tom?
Everything with my father.
Okay. Let me go on a wee bit more. Would you understand Longton in any way?
Yeah, Lunknesht. I don't know. It's my grandmother's name.
It's similar to a place that he had in England.
Okay. Let me go on a wee bit more.
Longview.
And it's very, well, I may have to go to Tom with this, because Patty got her birthday card this morning, and there were dogs in the card, and I think they just flashed something at me that I have to give this to Tom, because I know he's got quite a few at the minute. So thank you, but I think they just gave me my deciding factor with Patty's birthday card. Which is kind of money, I have to say, as a awareness. But if this is true, Tom, and I would not know this, I have to say, I think there's things just at the end he wished he had gotten to say. So, because it's mostly about, I worked really hard for all that stuff, but I don't know how much he expressed love. And that's really a big part of what he's saying, I have to say. So, even though he drove and he worked hard and he created success, I have to say, or maybe our measure of success is based on where he is, I have to say, is he wished he had gotten to say stuff he really wanted to say at the end of his life. I don't know if you have a tie of his, but for some reason he's bringing a tie into my consciousness, so there must be a tie that's connected in some way. So I do need to say that in the way it's brought as well. This is kind of, why do we have a switch stick, which would remind me of horses? I don't know if I gotta go back a generation, but there's something with horses here.
There were horses, and there was also my father's grandfather used that.
Okay. On people?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't know that term. We had belts, I have to say. So I don't know switch stick. But I did hear the term switch stick, so I do need to say that. And there's a Charles talked about. I don't know where that goes back to, but I do have to say I'm cognitive of the name Charles, because it's broad as well.
Yeah.
They are talking about uncharted territory, so I know you're kind of comfortable in some of the things you've put in place, but you're going some weird, different places, I have to say. So I don't know. You're going to places that are uncharted territories, I have to say for you. And it's just bringing that up, I have to say. And it's just like, just take a bite out of your life in other ways. he was proud of his success, there's no doubt about it, I have to say. And would you also be aware of the name William on some level?
Yes.
Because he's bringing that up as I go around it. And either a grandfather clock or a significant clock timepiece, I have to say.
Yeah.
That would have been important to him, I have to say.
Yeah.
But there's an enjoyment about your dad, I have to say. There's just a smile on his face, I have to say, in his present situation. I just need to say that to him. There's a piece about your father that I do need to bring up. Had he injured his leg? Or had a scar here?
Yes, he did.
Because he's just showing me something with a scar of an injury on his leg. So I just need to bring that up as well. And I think it's just symbolic, but he's showing me a chess set. For some reason, and I don't think he played chess. I think it's symbolic about, your next moves, I have to say. So don't do what he did. Don't base everything on, and I know you don't, I have to say. But into the future here, don't base everything on the financial aspect of things. Like, just fly, I have to say. But, he could be more proud of you, but don't make some of the same decisions you made, he says. So I just got to leave it there.
I
Please
understand.
take a look at the thought that's there.
Thank
you. And introduce Joe up next.
Thank you, Janet.
You're welcome.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Nice day for football.
Yay. And football food.
I played football a long time, from when I was 5 up till college. I don't know, every fall it's weird for me. I just it's like I got to go back out and start running or something. Anyway. As I was just sitting there and I got up, and I appreciate all the energy here this morning. There's a tremendous amount of healing going on, and I really appreciate that. The name Marie came into my head really strongly, and I started to see cardinals, the birds, I started to see those around me. I feel like this woman is trying to associate or get to see someone here. I do think it may be a woman that she wants to talk to. I feel that she lived a pretty full life. I want to say that towards the end, she kind of kept it to herself that she was not well. She did not reveal the kind of fears that were going on with her, the symptoms that she was having. She kind of refused to go to the doctor, if you will. She kind of knew it inside, and it was kind of realized after she was gone that she probably knew, So the family would know that. That would have been part of the discussion, I believe, because she knows now that people knew. But she didn't want anybody to worry, and she really wasn't looking to stay much longer. I do believe there was a husband or the dad of the family who had passed before her. And the interesting thing that I mentioned about football, that there's a name Fred. A friend of mine in college was Freddie Schmirlis, an all-star for the Buffalo Bills, and his name kept coming up. So Fred is important also somewhere in the family. Not necessarily the husband, but somewhere around there, either Fred, Frank, something like that they're trying to get into. If you were to know her as well, this woman, you would have known that she got up in years, that she lived alone for quite a while, and wanted to stay without other people, kind of in her space, if you will. She would love to have company, but you got to let her know that you're coming. She'd want to be ready and steady, and have conversation ready, everything very well prepared for her company, so that she could treat them well and have the food out and all the rest. So she held herself well, and I think she's a woman who had dignity, wanted to pass with dignity, and really was a giving person in her life who gave a lot to her family. The number 5 is also important, so I don't want to go too far, but that seems to be important also. Either the month of May or 5 people in the family, 5 kids, something like that. So can anybody take any part of this, please? Who's raising their hand over here? You are? You can. I don't know anything about Marie and your family, but I do know your family a little bit.
My mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law. Do you understand all of it or just pieces of it?
All of it, except for the Fred, I can take Frank.
Frank.
Not Fred.
Okay. But you can take Frank.
Everything you're describing, the
Okay.
cardinal, has a double meaning there. But I really, I can unless somebody else
Your-
can take.
Your mother, this is a mother-in-law?
Yes,
And would you also understand the demeanor she had and
Yes.
the preparation she had, the fact that she lived alone for quite a while? I
Wouldn't
mean,
go to
10
the
years
doctors.
at least, huh?
at least.
At least
Would
10
not go
years.
to the doctor. When she
Okay.
finally went to the doctor,
Would you understand, before you tell me anything more, please, would you understand that she had pain right here,
yeah,
right in the middle, like stomach cancer or pancreatic type things going on? And that's the thing she was ignoring for quite a while. She showed me that quite sharply. So if I also want to say to you that she mentions kind of slating things for people before she passed, almost labeling things,
yes.
or having a list of who gets what. Not like a formal will, if you will, but more like I want someone, to get this. And if you were to understand this, I know your husband's name, so I don't want to go there necessarily. I don't know anybody else in the family, in his family.
No.
Correct?
Right.
So could I also ask you, though, that she's talking about a young woman other than you that was important to her, okay? And so there's a young woman that either was helping her or around her, and that seemed to be important, okay?
Yeah, that's
And
okay.
I want to say there's a Brenda or Barbara or something close by to this situation. I know you're going to say no, you don't understand.
I don't know
She
the
says
name.
you don't. Let me go a little further with this though, because she could be referring to somebody close to me.
Okay.
And using the Brenda to get to me to see the was there a helper that came to the house?
At the very end,
Okay. Like a hospice person or palliative care type person?
yes.
And if you were to know that person, would you know a Chris?
Oh, I know Chris.
How do you know Chris?
Chris would be a male,
Okay,
Chris is
how do you
one
know
of
that
the-
though? Associated with her?
no, associated with me.
With you?
Well, Christina.
Christina?
Christina's her granddaughter.
Okay.
Granddaughter.
Put two and two together, a little bit distant here.
Yeah.
It's definitely Christina, I definitely understand. So this is a granddaughter that I would not know.
No.
And so there's definitely around that. She's around her like the other woman was around her at the end. But I'm not worried about Christina. I don't want you to give you the wrong notion here. However, she keeps talking about this Jean or Jane. That would be the name of the person who came to see her. Would you remember that, please?
I will. I'll ask her.
Okay, so remember that. She's talking about that and how there's a compassion in her heart. She was fun she wasn't like this harsh person. She actually made it fun for her.
Okay.
And she was disarmed by her. She didn't get all uptight and things. There's an association with that and Christina, that almost like the same personality. Would you understand that about Christina?
Very much so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she's telling me it's the same personality, and she's thrilled about that. She's thrilled about the kind of young woman she's becoming. She wants you to know that she is appreciative of you and all that you've done, and stop worrying about the kids. So she's around the kids a lot. So I do think that this is basically about, and I know your son's name, John, because she says John, so I think she's talking about John. So stop the worrying. There's a big thing here. So I don't want to get into a whole family business, but it seems to me that she needs to do that. Could she tell me one more thing, please, that I would not know? That I feel what is Hancock or Hancock Street?
Can't place it.
You don't know. Would you please just remember I said Hancock Street, and I also want to talk about 521. An address on that street.
Okay.
Does 521 mean anything to you? No, okay. I'm sorry I'm in kind of drifty area here for you, but I am very sure that I'm right. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, I want to look that address up and see who is associated there. Maybe just on below for somebody that comes close around here, okay? Frank is someone who's been there for a while,
Frank?
in spirit.
Oh, no, Frank is here.
Frank is, that's not the Frank we're talking about, though. I understand you have a Frank in your life.
Another Frank.
Another Frank in spirit.
I'll ask.
Associated with her,
Okay,
okay? And I want to just kind of mention that as well,
okay.
okay? So, before we get too dizzy here, I'm gonna ask you to pray to her, thank her for her help with the kids, and know that she was at peace at the end, and that she did it just the way she wanted to. So I'm gonna leave it that way.
Thank you, Joe. So, Joe's gonna work with Spirit Art, contact, which we'll have to do kind of quick, Joe.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Dealing
I run away.
Dealing one event. All good. So Joe begins drawing someone that comes to him, and he'll begin to talk about that. I kind of link him with all the energy. He might be drawing your grandfather, I might be talking about your grandmother, but it always comes together. So, but Joe begins the contact.
This gentleman here, Janet was mentioning a man with a mustache earlier, and I saw a man with a mustache, so I want to kind of draw him. He has a very distinct look to him. There's a bit of a bump in his nose. He's got a little bit of rough skin. He looks like he's a weather guy, worked really hard in life. I think he had some abilities as well in his life, like mechanics and that kind of thing that he knew well. I do think he was a big, loved his family, loved his life that way, and really wanted people to know that he was trying to be the best guy he was. I do think he liked a little bit of a bet now and then, like a little bit of gambling here. I don't think it's heavy stuff. I just think he'd like to be with the boys and maybe play some cards and stuff as I come around him. If you were to understand him, you would also know that his sense of humor was a little bit dry, and he liked to play practical jokes on people once in a while. I have also a feeling that he had a bad heart, and his heart was very, very tentative at best. I do think his heart attack is what took him, and I also want to tell you that as I come close to him, I feel. Would you say that again, please? He seems to want to talk. Geez, I just got the Frank again. I kind of want to tell you. There's either a Carl, I'm going to just stay with that, and I'll leave it at that.
There's also a Helen around this, and you would have memories, I have to say, of going to a house, I don't know if it's grandparents' house, of like a really weird old oven or one of those old refrigerators with the handles side by side that turn. I don't know why they're showing me that. That must be significant, I have to say. But the name of Helen is somewhere connected with this. And Joe mentioned mechanical. I'm definitely seeing like more jeans with the boots with the, laces not tied. So he definitely would dress down that way. So would anyone understand anything of what's been said so far? What can you take?
All of it.
Okay, and how could you take it?
That's my father.
Okay. Do you understand the picture as well?
I
Can't see. And remember that he may not be drawing your dad, he may be drawing your grandfather and an uncle. But it always comes together in the situation. The picture, you understand at all?
Yes.
And all the information that was given to you?
Yes.
Okay. So more laid back and everything?
Yes.
And Helen anywhere?
He's my aunt.
Okay. And a heart problem?
We're pretty sure that's how he
Okay. Did he have brothers at all?
Yes.
Okay, because there's something to do with the brothers in the picture, so I don't know what that's about, but I just need to acknowledge it when I bring it in. And who's Joe or John?
John is my brother.
Okay, great. So hello to him as well, I have to say. So anything, Joe, you'd like to ask you to?
Did he have a hairline kind of like mine?
As I always say, a very good-looking man.
What? Did you have a grandfather that was kind of loving?
Yeah.
The man just winking at you, I have to say. I believe his grandfather just coming in on the session to let you know he wants to be remembered as well. You're just being showered, I have to say, with a tremendous amount of love there that wants to go out. And if we go back in your family, did someone drink a bit?
Oh, which one?
So if I were to bring apologies, there's definitely apologies about alcohol. So,
And a heavy smoker as well?
Oh, that was him. And my grandfather.
okay, good. Is there any Polish anywhere in your family?
Yes.
Because my mom liked that Limburger cheese, that really pretty smelly stuff, and there's something to do with odd food like that, I have to say. So there's got to be a Polish connection here somewhere. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, just anything you'd like to add, Joe, that we'll have to.
I think he wore glasses, but he doesn't want them on, so it's not going to put them on.
About me.
I'm right about that, right?
Yeah, you said that's right.
Okay.
Anything else, Joe?
Do you recognize that at all?
Uncle Charlie?
Yes.
Perfect. They'll give you the drawing afterwards, so